Everyone, my name is Eric Redhead, your MLA for Thompson. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge the land we are gathered on and the generations of Indigenous people who lived and cared for these lands. This includes the Inuit, the Nene-Sulene, Cree people, and as well as the Anishinaabe, Dakota, Inuit people, and the Red River Métis Nation. Those histories and presence have shaped northern Manitoba and Treaty 5 territory in what is now known as Churchill. We share this acknowledgement as a reminder of our shared treaty responsibilities and the relationships that connect us to the land and others. So thank you for joining us and welcome to Churchill. We're pleased to be here with community leaders, partners, and media. It is my honor to invite Federal Minister Rebecca Chartrand to the podium. Minister.
Thank you, MLA Eric Redhead. Bonjour, Tanseanin, Wapanuni Indigenous Kas, Wabashke Mangandu Dem. Hello, everybody, and thank you for inviting us into your community here. I want to acknowledge all the dignitaries here, including my colleague here, MP Terry Duguid. Thank you for being here. And a special thank you for the Premier for bringing us all together and for the invitation today. When we think about this region, as the MP for the riding, this is a region, the Churchill-Kiewitna-Kiski region covers 75% of Manitoba. It includes 73 communities, including Churchill, and it is home to 42 First Nations. I also serve as the Minister of Northern and Arctic Affairs, so I'm happy to be here. As a proud Manitoban, I want to say that it's an honor to join everybody here, the polar bear capital of Canada. The Western Hudson Bay is an area of immense ecological importance and deep cultural meaning. It is also home to beluga whales, rich marine life, and a diverse coastal ecosystem that shape the identity of this region and the people who live here, which are all of you. The collaboration we're announcing today reflects a shared commitment to safeguard what makes this place extraordinary, while also planning responsibly for its future. Parks Canada will be spending meaningful time listening, sharing information, and learning from communities, its community members, Indigenous partners, and everyone who has a connection to these lands and waters. These conservations are essential to understanding local perspectives and what protections could look like within this region. The goal here is simple. It's to determine whether this type of designation is the right fit, one that respects the environment and the people who rely on it and those that live here. We are at the beginning of this process, so any future steps will be guided by the dialogue that carries out between First Nations, Inuit, Métis partners, as well as the community members, tourism industry, and other stakeholders. At its heart, this work is about honoring nature while respecting the people, the knowledge, the histories that are rooted right here. It's also about ensuring that the Western Hudson's Bay is cared for thoughtfully, collaboratively, and sustainably. So now I just want to say thank you again for time, and I look forward to meeting everybody, hearing your concerns, but also your aspirations for the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. It is my honor to invite the Premier of Manitoba, Premier Wab Kinew, to the podium.
All right, thank you, Eric. It's nice to be here in Churchill today with some old friends, some new friends. I was getting cut up over here before I came up here. People were teasing me. So, you know, they say in the community, we tease you because we love you. And if we don't love you, we tease you anyway. So, so it's kind of like that. And I don't know, it's nice to be here with all the colleagues as well, too. You know, not only friends and relatives, but in-laws, too. Minister Chartrand is my wife's cousin, so they grew up together. So there's lots of connections around the province. And, of course, to the First Nations leadership that's here as well, too, Chief Wastesicoot and Chief Beardy. and all the people that you represent. Definitely want to include you. And I'll even shout out the political staff. So many people want this. I'm going to go somewhere with this, but first I'm going to make fun of some people that I work with. Like, it really says something about Churchill that, like, there's a lineup of political staff who want to come on this trip, right? Like, people want to see Churchill. People want to see the region. And so, you know, there's a lot of great political staff who are here. And it's kind of like that with the ministers, too, and the MLAs. I got to be honest. We had to put a rule. You can only take one trip to Churchill per year if you're a cabinet minister. Otherwise, they'd be up here, like, you know, once a month. And what a great opportunity that is. You have Manitobans, you have Canadians, you have people around the world who want to be here, who want to come and visit, who want to see all the amazing things that happen here in Churchill. So for us, as the provincial government, we want to make sure that the next generation and every generation of Manitobans after that are just as proud of this place as we are today and have the same opportunity to celebrate it. So today, we're very, very proud to announce that we're pursuing a marine conservation area on Hudson Bay to protect the waters around Churchill as we grow the economy to make sure that the beluga and other wildlife and marine mammals have a safe and clean and healthy habitat. But most importantly, just to make sure that we can all work together and preserve what's so wonderful about this part of Canada and this part of the world. So as part of that collaboration, our government is bringing forward $250,000, and we're very happy that Oceans North is stepping up to make a significant contribution as well too. So I'll leave the details to that. CPAWS as well has been a great partner in this work, helping to really put this on the map. So there's a lot of conversation going on around Churchill right now, and a lot of that has to do with growing our economy. But I think whether you're from the north, whether you're from the south, wherever you are in Manitoba, you know that part of being able to put food on the table means taking care of the land, the water, and the air and the animals that we depend on. And so this investment is really just about making sure that we're putting the pieces together so that we can ensure that that legacy is preserved for future generations. There's a lot that we're talking about on trade diversification, Arctic sovereignty, Canadian independence, and these are all really, really important priorities. But we also have a responsibility to ensure that things that have been underway here for millennia continue on after our time here on Earth. So this step, as we pursue the economic, as we pursue the international priorities to grow Manitoba into an amazing future economy that we can all envision for ourselves, it's also about making sure that when we take one step in that direction, we're taking another step in the direction of the environment and making it all work together too. So you see a bunch of folks up here from different walks of life and different backgrounds, whether it's First Nations, whether it's federal, provincial, the NGOs, the environmental, but we're all working together because we want to support what you do as a tourism operator, as a Churchill resident, as a Manitoban, as a Canadian. This has been an unprecedented year of threats to our sovereignty and threats to our economy, but the one thing that we should always be proud of is that we have responded with unity, and we've responded with strength, and we've responded with compassion. So a lot of people say the guy to the south of us is talking about America first. And I'm not going to get too political here, but I think the proper response to America first is not Canada first. The proper response to America first is no, humanity first. And if you come at it from an Indigenous perspective, I think you would also conclude that humanity only exists because of our reliance on the natural world around us, including the plants and animals. And so if we want to put humanity first, we also have to put our environment first. And so there's a reciprocal relationship that is necessary. And I'm very, very confident that as we work on all these priorities together, trying to grow the economy, trying to protect our freedom, trying to preserve nature, that we'll be able to come up with a good path forward together. So with that, very, very happy to be here for my one trip this year. And miigwech bizinawik. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Premier, for those amazing remarks. I'd now like to invite one of my amazing colleagues, the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Honorable Mike Moyes, to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is absolutely wonderful to be here in Churchill. Churchill is one of the most remarkable and iconic places in our province and quite factually around the world. And I'm so pleased to be here with so many of our leaders, both at the provincial level, the federal level, chiefs, other environmental groups. The Western Hudson Bay is one of the most ecologically significant marine environments on the planet. The waters around Churchill support belugas, polar bears, seals, migratory birds, and species that define Manitoba's identity and attract visitors from around the world. These ecosystems are changing rapidly, and the need for action has never been more urgent. Protecting this environment is not only about conservation. It's about ensuring a strong, sustainable future for northern communities. Today, our government is reaffirming our commitment to advancing a national marine conservation area in Western Hudson Bay. This initiative represents a major step forward in safeguarding the health of these waters and supporting responsible economic development. An NMCA will help ensure that Churchill continues to grow as a world-class destination for tourism, research, and cultural experiences. And I would just like to highlight the important work and role that Oceans North has done in this area. And I want to commend their incredible contribution today. Oceans North is a Canadian marine conservation organization that partners with northern and Indigenous communities to protect marine ecosystems while supporting sustainable economic opportunities. Their investment will support community engagement, scientific research, and capacity building as we move forward together. This partnership ensures that local knowledge and community priorities remain at the heart of the process. This announcement builds on the momentum of the Seal River Watershed Indigenous Protected Area Initiative that's not too far away from here, and recognizes how important the natural spaces around us are to our well-being and that of the economy. These spaces are the backdrop to everything that we do, and we must do everything we can to protect and to sustain them. Together, these efforts show Manitoba's commitment to conservation, to reconciliation, and collaborative decision-making. They also demonstrate our belief that environmental protection and economic opportunity can go hand in hand. We are committed to working closely with Indigenous governments, the federal government, local leaders, and organizations like Oceans North and CPAWS towards our shared future. Our shared goal is a prosperous, sustainable future for Churchill and for all Manitobans. By protecting these waters today, we're investing in the long-term health of our environment, our community, and our economy. And I just want to thank everyone who's contributed to this work so far. So thank you to the people of Churchill for your leadership and for your vision. I look forward to continuing this journey together as we build a future that honors the land, the water, the wildlife, and the people that call this place home. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Minister, for those comments. Next, please welcome to the podium Christopher Debicki, Vice President, Counsel at Oceans North Conservation Society, to the podium. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Thank you, MLA Redhead. Thank you, Premier Kinew, Minister Moyes, Minister Chartrand, Chiefs Beardy, Wastesicoot, Member of Parliament, Duguid, and thank you all. And of course, the community of Churchill. Yes, I am Christopher Debicki. It doesn't rhyme with how do you do, but how do you do? And as Minister Moyes kindly said, we're a Canadian conservation organization that foregrounds healthy communities and healthy ecosystems and the interreliance of the two. I like to talk, when I talk about Churchill and Hudson Bay, I often like to think of it in terms of confluences. Of Churchill and the western Hudson Bay coast is a place where great rivers from the heart of our continent meet the Arctic Ocean. And when I stand at the edge of the bay here, I feel that it's not so much the end of land, but the beginning of ocean. And Churchill is also a confluence in our human story. It's a place where coastal and inland Cree, Inuit, and Dene trade networks helped build a fur empire that endured for more than 3 centuries, and in so many ways set the course for Canada. It's a place where movement and exchange are not new ideas, but old ones, where new networks and new ambitions are again being contemplated in our time. So when Manitoba takes the step we're marking today, supporting a feasibility study toward establishing a Western Hudson Bay National Marine Conservation Area, it matters a lot. Because confluences are where choices concentrate. They're where we decide what kind of future we mean to build. And in this context, we appreciate the Premier's emphasis on balance, on approaching Churchill with ambition, but also with realism and care. Churchill's future can't be built without recognizing what's already here. This community is not a one-resource town. In addition to its role as a transportation hub, tourism and research are also, as Mayor Spence always reminds us, they are also economic pillars. They're real, they're here today, and they're connected to a healthy Hudson Bay. And so if we want opportunity that endures, we have to protect the living systems that make this place worth coming to, worth studying, and especially worth calling home. And Manitoba's estuaries are central to why this matters. Western Manitoba is a beluga stronghold. Each summer, roughly 55,000 beluga whales return, more than a quarter of the world's population, and occupy the Seal, Churchill, and Nelson estuaries. They come because these offer what living systems always seek: shelter, productivity, a place to feed, to gather, to calve, to raise young. Now, Hudson Bay, of course, is a connected system, and the health of beluga summering here connects to the wider bay and to communities across it, including in Nunavik and Nunavut, where healthy beluga populations carry tremendous cultural and economic significance, including as a harvesting resource. And so when we protect core habitat here, we participate in a larger responsibility, one that reaches far beyond a single coastline. So today we're, from the perspective of Oceans North, not only here to applaud the provincial leadership on this file, but also to commit. Oceans North is investing over $1 million over the next year in research and marine-focused training and education initiatives in and around Churchill. With practical, thank you. With what we hope will be practical benefits for Northern residents and partners. That includes supporting community-driven marine research and monitoring, including partnerships with York Factory First Nation, Saisi Dene, and other Hudson Bay-rooted communities, and collaboration with the University of Manitoba and other research institutions. It also means marine safety skills and training opportunities, and on-the-water education programming that strengthens local capacity for the long term. If Manitoba is serious about balanced development, we must ensure that our economic ambitions don't outpace our responsibility. Churchill is a confluence of rivers and sea, of ecology and economy, of history and future. And today, Manitoba is choosing to meet that future with care. Thanks very much. And again, Chief Wastesicoot, I'm honored to hand it to you. Although I think, I don't want to preempt MLA Redhead, but thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Now I'd like to welcome a former chief colleague of mine, Chief Wastesicoot.
Thank you very much. My name is Darryl Wastesicoot. I'm the chief of York Factory First Nation. My journey as the chief has been a really tough one. I'm very, very happy to be here with this announcement today, with everybody behind me. That looks like there is a huge support behind the conservation of this area. Just a short history about York Factory. The government of Canada took us inland back in 1957 from the York Factory area. So that's been our traditional territory for forever. And to be taken from there and put somewhere else that we're not familiar with, it has been tough. It's still tough today. So what we decided to do is just go back to our traditional territory. And part of the traditional territory is actually in Churchill as well. We have almost 200 members, York Factory members, that live in Churchill here to use the land north and south of Churchill. So what we've decided to do to be able to look after that land, because if we're not there, people are always going in and taking things and you know, just hunting, fishing, everything that we're supposed to be doing, other people are doing. And when we were removed there, people just moved in, and that wasn't right for us. So today I'm gonna say that we're back in our land. We're actively on the land, making sure that people know that we're back. And the way we're doing that is through partnerships, and one of them is with Oceans North. So we've decided to look at education as the biggest factor of our people just basically coming back to life. Without education, we're stagnant. We don't know where to go. We don't know what to do. So we started a school in York Factory, in York Landing, and from there we're basically trying to bring education home so we don't fail out there when we have to go out to school. That's the main thing about that project. And with the conservation here with Oceans North, we're looking to also build a school or some kind of an education system here in Churchill, so our members can become the marine biologists or whatever they want to be or do. So I'm just really happy with the announcement today, and I just want to also say that we are not here just to participate in the process. We are here to be leaders in stewarding the Western Hudson Bay, which is called Kiskigami. The establishment of a potential NMCA would be another step in a major efforts to increase our presence on our coastal traditional territory, strengthening, oh my God. I had surgery on my throat and it's still bothering me, pardon me. Strengthening the relationship that we have had with these lands since time immemorial. Thank you all for being here and listening to me today and all the support that we have behind me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Wastesicoot. Well, folks, that concludes the formal portion of our announcement. We're now going to open the floor to media.
Hello. How long of a process are we talking? Months, years? Will the study be? Who's chairing the study and who's part of it?
Well, I don't want to, before the study actually kicks off, I don't want to suggest, you know, a specific timeline or say how things are going to work, because obviously that's, it's a very cooperative approach, a collaborative approach. If I'm using other protected areas, I'll use the Seal River watershed, which, you know, is not too far away from here, a little bit west of here. The feasibility study, I believe, took about a year. But there's nothing to suggest, a specific timeline that has to be reached by this, or decision points have to be reached by any specific timeline. As we bring the partners and people together, all of those decisions will kind of roll out. It's a very collaborative approach, as well as it also depends on what we're hearing. If there's problems or things that are brought up, issues that need to be dealt with, then obviously it might take longer.
Minister, is there the intention that there will be hearings attached to this, that this is a process that I think people want to be involved in? And when you're doing, now, it's one thing to have hearings, but it's another thing to be driven by science, right? So, as you have talked about the mandate of this, has that been a consideration at all?
I wouldn't use the term hearings. I would use, it's more of a collaboration. Like, we want to open this up for sure to the people of the area, to First Nations, to Manitobans broadly. But absolutely, we want to hear from folks, but I wouldn't use the term hearings. That has kind of maybe a judicial kind of aspect that I wouldn't describe this approach as.
Okay, we're going to go to Zoom.
Thank you, Premier. Yes, we have 4 reporters joining us on Zoom today. We'll follow our usual Zoom format of 1 question and 1 follow-up. And we're going to turn things over first to Julia Simone from the Narwhal.
Hi, folks. Thanks for taking my question today. I'm just wondering if you could provide any more detail about what the study will encompass beyond, public consultation or consultation with various stakeholders. Is there an area that, has been determined? What kinds of activities will the study include? That sort of thing.
We'll invite Chris Debicki to talk a bit about that. But I also want to say, it's awesome that we have Chief Wastesicoot here and York Factory. There's other Indigenous nations in the area that we have to engage with too. And so I just want to make clear, even as we're launching this feasibility study in this process, there's still a lot of work that we have to do to make sure that everybody is at the table who needs to make this thing a success. At the highest level, you got a commitment from our government that we want to protect the waters in the area as we pursue economic development. Now, we're off. Who needs to be part of that conversation? For sure, there's a lot of researchers. There's going to be a number of First Nations. You got Inuit and the Dene in the region as well too. Plus, we just sat down, had a great meeting with the tourism operators in the region. So you got business and local residents who are going to have their say as well here too. But yeah, Chris, you want to
Thank you.
flesh that out?
Thanks, Premier. So first of all, National Marine Conservation Areas are federal jurisdiction, but in my experience, in every instance where they've worked, they've depended heavily on provincial backing and on provincial leadership to move an initiative like this forward. But it will be up to Parks Canada and the federal government to determine the terms of reference for the feasibility study. We've done a significant amount of research with respect to beluga habitat. Our recommendation for a study area would, of course, be to capture Manitoba's 3 great estuaries, the Seal, the Churchill, and the Nelson Hayes estuary, because that's the densest summering habitat for beluga. And our research shows that, for example, if we were to contemplate a protected area off the coast that extended something in the range of 50 miles, you would capture about 95% of the habitat that's used by beluga. Now, as I think Parks Canada would remind me, there are lots of other ecological values in Hudson Bay, and so this isn't a protection that we're calling for a single species, and it's a complex and wonderful ecosystem. And so I would probably leave it to their expertise, and the process itself will include recommendations with respect to the future protected area. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just as a follow-up, is there any confirmed funding or contribution from the federal government on this area?
I'll answer that. Well, as you know, Parks Canada is overseen by the federal government. As part of our commitments, we are committing to 10 national parks across the country. So I can't give you an exact number, but I'm assuming that we're contributing probably the most to this study, this feasibility study. But we could get back to you with exact numbers on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next from the Free Press, Carol Sanders.
Hi, this question is for the Premier. Premier, how do you square the announcement today with your government's support for an energy and trade corridor in northern Manitoba and the potential impact on the ecosystem? So who's got the hammer here? Is it the findings of this research, or will it be any kind of trade deal or energy corridor agreement? What can you say about that?
I want Manitoba to be a leader across Canada and around the world on how to build up the economy. So one, that means we need to build the economy. But two, it's about how we do it. And I think that when we're talking about pursuing export and import along Hudson Bay, we can't do that without thinking about the environment. So we went out and we got the best. We've got people who know this stuff from NGO perspective. We got people who understand this from an Indigenous perspective, and we're going to bring more around the table to figure out what we need to do to look after the beluga and everybody else who uses the land and waters here. And you know, I would liken it to the process that we've taken with the Manitoba Crown Indigenous Corporation to build up this trade corridor on the financial side. Other provinces and other regions of the country have gone out and tried to, I guess, build the project first and then go back and talk to Indigenous nations. And we've done the opposite in Manitoba. We've said we're going to go out and talk to Indigenous nations first, and if we are able to build a critical mass, then we'll proceed to put the shovels in the ground after that. I think a few years from now, you'll look back and you'll say that the approach that Manitoba is taking is the correct one. It can get projects built as fast or faster than the old school, burn baby burn, build baby build, drill baby drill approach of the past. And part of that means the environment too. So instead of just trying to build up some massive export terminal and then wait for environmentalists or land users, water users to highlight the downsides years on the future, we're saying let's have that conversation now. Let's figure out how can we make growing the economy work at the same time that we build a safe, clean, and healthy environment for the future. So we do that in Manitoba. So a model that many other provinces, territories, and countries will probably want to follow in the future.
On an unrelated topic, Premier, I wanted to ask you, your government just announced that it's taking over a personal care home in Winnipeg. Nonprofit care homes are saying the funding hasn't kept pace with rising costs. It's creating risk and instability for residents and for staff at care homes. Is your government planning to take over more personal care homes and provide more government support to home operators, or what's going to happen going forward? Can we expect more government-operated personal care homes in the future? Why not just provide more funding so operators can keep going?
Well, when you're asking why we're building a port at Churchill or a big project on Hudson Bay, it's so that we can pay for healthcare. Like, we're the NDP, we love healthcare, we love education. But the thing that I've cultivated with our team is, great idea, how are you going to pay for it? And so we have to grow the economy in order to pay for these things, and that's why we're here in Churchill. That's why we're doing a bunch of other stuff to grow the economy around the province. On long-term care, you know, I love seniors. Seniors are the loudest hockey fans when I'm there with our U9 team. They are the demographic that built this province to be the place that we love so much. There's some loud hockey fans here, by the way, who are clapping, yeah, quietly. So that's awesome. And we just want to make sure that as folks age in Manitoba, that you age with dignity. And for some folks, aging with dignity means living independently and staying in your own home, you know, for many, many years. And for other folks, aging with dignity means a personal care home. Now, why are we taking this over? There's 25 empty beds there right now. That's 25 families that could have dignity for their loved one. And this operator, from what I understand, was looking to shutter the doors. We can't afford to lose dozens of personal care home beds right now. So we as the government are stepping in. We're taking over. We're going to preserve the existing beds. That gives reassurance to those folks who are already living in there, the seniors and their families and others. And then we're going to open up those 25 other beds. If you want to go to an emergency room, including the one here in Churchill, you need to be able to ensure that for you to be seen relatively quickly, the people who showed up earlier are able to find a bed afterwards. You know, you always talk about patient flow, they talk about bed blocks, stuff like that. What it means is you have to give people dignified care in the right space, right? And so for Manitoba to address our healthcare needs, we need more personal care home beds. Beautiful facility here too, that's part of the solution, I will also add. Now, when we take a look at what got us to this position, because you asked about funding, well, you know that part of Donald Trump's speech where he starts going on about Joe Biden? You're about to see that now with the Manitoba PCs, because it's their fault. Cutting healthcare for years and years and years, closing personal care home beds, and I won't even revisit the terrible details of the Maples personal care home tragedy out of respect for the families there. But if you don't know what happened at Maples, go look it up and you will understand we need to do far better in the province when it comes to care for seniors. So the point that I'm making with that is, one, that is what's at risk if we ever go back to a PC government in the future. You're going to see more cuts, you're going to see more damage to healthcare in Manitoba at a time where it's very delicate and we're just starting to turn things around. But it also is saying that the fix is going to take a long time for us to deliver as well too. You're talking about us taking action on this one Golden Door personal care home. That's going to open up 25 more beds. We probably need 10 times that amount. Brian Pallister, Heather Stephenson, the current leader, they all campaigned on adding 1,200 personal care home beds in Manitoba. Do you know how many of the PCs actually built through 2 terms in office? Not only did they build 0 beds, they also cut personal care home beds across the province. So if you had 7.5 years where we were falling behind population growth and we were losing beds in the system, this is not something that can be rectified overnight. I wish we could snap our fingers and create more funding for every personal care home bed and create, hundreds of new beds across the system, but that's just not reality. These projects have to be designed, they have to be engineered, you have to go through a public process to tender them, then you have to build the facilities. So what have we been doing since day one in office? Each of those steps. Construction has started at personal care homes in Eastman, in the Interlake region, inside the city of Winnipeg. We're taking steps to open more beds here. So there's a lot that's going to be done in the future. We just need to keep working together to make it happen so that seniors are going to be able to count on the best quality of healthcare in the future.
Thank you.
Next from the Canadian Press, Steve Lambert.
Well, good afternoon. Premier, I'd like to ask you, you've talked about the possibility of a pipeline. I realize nothing is imminent here, but can a pipeline and a marine conservation area coexist?
Any activity that humans do has an environmental impact. I have yet to see a battery-powered boat, right? So really the question is always, it's too bad that in the current era, just as with every other era, the issue often gets oversimplified to a binary choice, yes or no. For me, the question is always a question of degree. How much is an acceptable impact on the environment? How much of the economic growth that we pursue should we be able to write on the books, and how much should we potentially give up in the name of environmental protection? And, if you're the optimist, how much can you have a win-win where environmental protection actually creates more economic opportunity? So for me, we're here because we're saying the environment is important at the same time that we pursue economic growth. And it has ever been the same. Anytime people in Canada, people around the world have looked to grow the economy, it has had an impact on the environment. And the question is, to what degree are you going to put protections in place to preserve as much of the environment as you want, while at the same time balancing it with your economic needs? So yeah, the answer is, I'm not gonna fall into the trap that the Manitoba PCs always do, where they just make excuses and throw stones from the sidelines. I'm here putting it on the line, because I want Manitoba to have economic growth, and I want Manitoba to have a pristine, clean, safe, healthy environment as well too. And if you object to that, then I'm sorry, but this government is not for you. This government has ambition. This government has heart. We want to build this province. We want to protect the environment at the same time. And if you want to hate from the sidelines, well, there's a blue party that you can go support in the next election. We'll be busy building Manitoba.
And my follow-up question is very similar to Chief Wastesicoot. Do you support the possibility of a pipeline in the area, and how do you see that coexisting, a pipeline and a terminal with a marine conservation area?
Well, for Indigenous people, we've been in poverty forever, and we're looking for a balance. We want to protect our areas, but we also want to make sure that we thrive where we are, and that's our main goal right now, is that we educate our people to understand the balance that we need, so we can go forward with either protecting the land and prospering at the same time. We're not against industry, we're not against progress. We just want to be a part of it. We don't want to be on the sidelines looking in. We want to be in that box with everybody else. So that's our goal as for my nation, that we get out of this poverty that we're in. If we don't, then we're stuck.
Finally, from Radio-Canada, Gala Dion.
Bonjour, Monsieur Kinew. Merci de répondre à mes questions en français. Alors, le commerce, selon votre vision, et les aires maritimes protégées ne s'excluent pas mutuellement. Comment un pipeline, dans votre perspective, et une aire marine protégée peuvent-ils coexister ensemble dans la région de Churchill?
Bien, toutes les affaires des êtres humains ont des effets et des impacts sur l'environnement. Alors, pour nous, ce n'est pas une question de oui ou non, c'est une question de comment est-ce qu'on pourrait engager avec ces méga projects et puis le processus d'avancer notre économie canadienne en même temps qu'on protège l'environnement. Alors, pour nous, ce n'est pas une décision qui serait faite au palais législatif, ça serait une décision qui serait prise après d'engager ici dans Churchill, dans le Nord, tout partout dans le Manitoba. Je crois que les Manitobains, les Manitobaines veulent un avenir avec plus d'opportunités économiques, mais avec le même ou plus d'un environnement net et de bonne santé.
Merci. Et pour ma question de relance, le gouvernement fédéral annonce son intention de créer 10 autres zones de ce type d'ici 2030. Mais selon Parc Canada, seuls 6 sites sont candidats pour devenir de nouvelles zones de conservation marine. Qu'est-ce qui rend celle de la baie du Tisson suffisamment prioritaire pour vous pour obtenir ce statut?
She said that Parks Canada set a goal of adding 10 national parks, but only 6 have currently been identified as potential opportunities. So how much would this potentially, like this current one that we're talking about here in Churchill, figure into that?
Yeah, the feasibility study will determine that. Yeah, thank you for that question. I am in the process of learning French, so I caught some of that, not all of it. Yeah, so we do have 6 that are under review, I believe. We're working towards 10. This could potentially be one of those, but I'm not the minister overseeing those decisions, but definitely the feasibility study will help us determine that outcome.
Merci.
That's all from Zoom. Thank you.
Alors, juste pour finir, il y a cette but de 30 par 30. Et ici, dans le Manitoba, nous sommes engagés avec ce projet, mais aussi nos partenaires fédéraux. Alors, ça pourrait leur aider. C'est un autre détail pour votre reportage que cette but de 30 par 30 pourrait être aidé par ce projet. So I was just saying, our government's committed to 30 by 30, your government's committed to 30 by 30. This is one project that could potentially help the federal government hit that target as well, too. But as you heard, we're going to work together towards that goal.
protecting the environment, but also growing economic industry. But where does this study sort of land on a timeline in terms of advancing the Churchill Plus project? Is this something that needs to happen first?
We're doing the environmental analysis at the same time that we're doing the icebreaker study, at the same time that we're doing the market sounding. And we're going to take everything into account at the same time, including the federal government. I'm sure they're going to have a similar process. And we're just going to try and strike that balance right. So we have committed with the Arctic Research Foundation to do a feasibility study, which is basically just to scope, if you wanted to open up the shipping season here, how big of an icebreaker do you need? Does it need to have an espresso machine on it, or can you get maybe a more scaled back version of an icebreaker? So that's one study that's underway. We're announcing here with some great partners in the non-governmental organizations, great Indigenous governments at the table. We're going to look at protecting habitat, protecting the waters, right? So that's going to be another important consideration. And then with the Major Projects Office, we're going to market. We're going what's called and doing a market sounding exercise. So there's a consultant that's been hired that is going to go out to the private sector and figure out, all right, there's this great opportunity to access Hudson Bay tidewater in Manitoba. What products should be there? And that's where the private sector, governments, rights holders, stakeholders, a bunch of people are going to have their say. And then we'll determine, what the business case is from there. But at the end of the day, Canada needs to protect our independence. Part of that means having a presence in the Arctic and in the North to defend against hostile actors from other countries. But part of that means being able to build up our country so that we can pay for the roads, we can pay for the healthcare, we can pay for the schools that we're all very proud of to have in this country. By the way, Canadians live longer than Americans, and it's because we have universal public health care. So let's be very proud of that fundamental Canadian value. And so in order to pay for those things and to protect our economic independence, we need to be able to pursue more opportunity. A huge part of Canada's economic growth is created in Western Canada. A lot of it's even created in Northern Manitoba. But to really realize that full potential, we have to be able to do business overseas with Europe, with Asia, with South America, all around the world. And Hudson Bay Tidewater is one of the ways that we can help make that happen.
And you spoke with some of the tourism industry here earlier today. I'm just wondering if you could share what you heard as their priorities when it comes to the Churchill Plus project and how tourism is still going to be a blend with that.
But I think if I'm being straight up, folks let me know if I'm getting this right, can the government get out of our way so that we can, expand the ecotourism opportunities that we have here in Churchill? And that obviously I think is coming from a place where folks recognize we do have to have conservation and, marine protection and air protection and land protection. So I think it was a really good conversation. They gave us a lot of homework. We're going to take that away, see if there's some red tape that we can cut through. And, tourism is a $100 million industry here. So we need to be able to preserve that for sure. We don't want to lose that. And, if I could also maybe hazard a description, I think there is a willingness to entertain Churchill Plus as long as it's going to allow tourism to continue to flourish and if it's going to mean the infrastructure to help Churchill keep growing in the future. I think those would be, at least from what I heard, those would be the pieces we have to put together in order to make the big project happen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks everyone. Appreciate your time today.